Welcome back to Home Sweet Home Cooking. I am your host, Rocky, in my mother's kitchen, as always. Say hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
So today we are going to we did the short version, the casserole American cheap version, chicken tetrazzini that uses the cans of condensed soup mix. And I also found a recipe for the full-on with the roux and no condensed soup mixes. So I'm going to do that one to see how they compare. So for that, my mom has already boiled a pound of fettuccini noodles in salted water. Got those draining so they can dry up a little bit. 3 cups of, says rotisserie chicken cube. This recipe also calls for chicken broth. I actually had boiled that chicken to make stock, so I'll be using chicken stock in this. And the chicken, I just picked off the bones when we put it in the freezer when I boiled it to make the broth. So I had broth to make stock, and I had the chicken for this. So the chicken and the broth are coming back together to become one in this recipe. So 3 cups of that diced, 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I've got my skillet here starting to heat up already. 1, 2. We don't have the olive oil here. My mom doesn't use it, so we don't have any. So I'm just going to use the regular veg oil, and through that, it's going to be 2 tablespoons of butter. This recipe calls for 2 whole sticks plus 2 tablespoons. The 1 stick is going to be 3 tablespoons off the end, and the rest will go. So this one is just the 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to get that melted down. Using my spatulas that I got off of Amazon, I'm testing right now. To stir. And once this gets in there, I'm going to saute down these mushrooms. And mushrooms, when they're starting to saute, they're going to go for, let's see.
For a while.
I need salt and pepper too, Mom. It says saute, well, okay. When the butter is melted, add mushrooms and onion, season lightly with salt and pepper. So also going into this right away is going to be 1 medium yellow onion. So get that cut up and sliced here real quick. Salt and pepper. Get these sauteed down until the onion translucent, and they'll be right back. Mushrooms and onions are sauteed. To that I'm going to add 4 cloves of garlic chopped. I'm actually using about a tablespoon of store-bought pre-chopped. To that is supposed to be 1 tablespoon of fresh chopped thyme. Don't have any fresh chopped, so we're going to use not quite a tablespoon of the dried. And to that is going to be 1/2 cup of a dry white wine. I'm just using a standard cooking wine. I'm going to stir this and let it simmer for 2 minutes. Let it reduce a little bit. I'm going to get, if there's any fond on the bottom of the pan, you want to make sure you get that scraped up. That's the little bits and goodness that go into the sauce. That's your flavor. Alright, so I'm going to let this simmer down for about 2 minutes. Get that off the fire and into the medium bowl here. And I'm going to start prepping. The next is going to be 1 cup of milk, 1 cup of heavy cream, and 3 cups of milk, Mother.
Yes, dear.
And 1 cup of chicken broth. Okay. So now, give this one final stir. It is definitely reduced. All that wine is about evaporated out. Get my medium bowl up here. Gotta do it transfer fast enough so the cooker doesn't shut off on me. And into the bowl. Alright, get this up to a simmer. When that's up to a simmer, we're going to take that off the heat. I put the last 3 tablespoons, or the other 3 tablespoons that I cut off, into the pan. That's going to get melted and go to a roux here in a second. As soon as this is heated up to a simmer, the last bit of the butter, the stick, and 5 tablespoons has been melted, so I'll need that melted later. I'm going to go ahead and take my 9x13 Pyrex and give it a spray. Doesn't have to be a Pyrex, just, this is one of the items that I just bought that I want to test out, see if it's any good. It's Pyrex, I'm assuming it will be. Alright, it's about up to a simmer, so I need to get that off. Need to get my cast iron back on. And work on grating some of my Parmesan. As soon as this gets heated up just a little more, 1/3 cup of flour is going to get mixed into there, so be right back. Butter's melted down. So again, 3 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to sprinkle in evenly as I can. 1/3 cup of flour. Get that mixed in. Make a roux until all that butter and flour have combined. It's turned into a little paste. Maybe a little bit of color on it to cook out the flour flavor. And then that, what I just simmered, the liquid ingredients, is going to go back on here until it gets a little bit thickened. If you've ever done a roux, you know you don't walk away from it. Okay, the roux is turning a little bit darker in color, or turning a light brown, so it's time to add in the liquid. Switch this over to a whisk.
How much do you need breadcrumbs?
Half cup. Just bring it out. I've got a cup of measure over here already.
Let's say half a cup.
Okay, now I'm just going to cook this until the flour, the roux is incorporated in it and starts to thicken up. Alright, it should say this should take about 2 minutes to thicken up. And then you're going to add 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, 1/8 if it was freshly grated. There's your 1 pound of fettuccine noodles, can now get spread on the bottom of the casserole dish. By the way, folks, if you're keeping score at home and you're saying this guy doesn't look like he knows what he's doing, you're damn right I don't. I've never made this before. And I bet you a lot of you people have never made this before, and that's why you're looking at the video. So this isn't, just because I don't know what I look like I'm doing, that doesn't mean that you're going to sit there and have the same look on your face. You probably will. And you have to read this, read the instructions, make sure you're going through the instructions properly, and keep rereading it, make sure you didn't miss anything. But that's how you learn how to make new things, you try. Like I said, I've never made the full version of this. We did the shortcut cheap version in another episode just released today on the same day. But I also wanted to compare it to a full-blown version, that's why we're doing this one. I'm learning something new. Alright. So the nutmeg, what did I say, 1/4 teaspoon nutmeg. If it's fresh, if it's not fresh ground, 1/8 if it is fresh ground. It also calls for more salt and pepper at this point. I'm not going to do that because I put quite a bit in the beginning. I prefer to let the people eating it decide that on their own at the table if they want more. That way you can kind of keep things low sodium if need be, or if people want a little more salt, they can add a little more salt to theirs. It calls for 1 teaspoon seasoned salt, 1 teaspoon kosher salt, and 1/2 teaspoon black pepper. I will add the seasoned salt because it does carry other flavors.
Oven's ready.
Oven's ready. So the recipe, camera battery died, I don't know exactly where it cut out. What I had done was taken the recipe calls to mix the chicken into the liquid, into the sauce, and then try to pour all that over. Well, I've got a heavy cast iron and I want to add more weight and make it more difficult. So I'm just going to layer the chicken on top of the pasta, on the top of the noodles, and then pour the liquid over everything. So that's where we are. Oven is up to temperature, 425 degrees. What I do need, I know I just said, that I like these and all, but I would rather get the mitts that's just slide over the handle.
Oh yeah, that'll be good.
Okay.
Now that looks like cream and mushroom.
Well, it is basically cream and mushroom. Wait a minute. Okay, I'm supposed to add the chicken and the mushrooms. So, I missed that part, so we're going to have to put this on top and mix it in manually. Supposed to put the chicken and the mushrooms, mix that together in with the liquid, and then pour it all in. So,
What about your butter?
that goes on top later.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go under all the noodles and lift up. And that should help kind of incorporate everything into the casserole. I think that'll be mixed just fine. I don't think I damaged anything or did anything too bad there. Alright, so once you have that done, it is time to get a drink. Sprinkle it evenly with 1/2 cup of grated Parmesan. This is not the stuff out of the green jar that Mom likes, the pre-grated stuff. This is actually a brick of Parmesan that I grated because I'm trying to see what this really tastes like. There's some shortcuts in here, but not a whole lot. Next is going to be 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs on top of the Parmesan. Even coat. And then on top of that, you can pour the rest of your butter. The last bit of, if you had fresh thyme or fresh parsley, instead of using the dry parsley like we did, you would put some parsley on top after it comes out of the oven. I don't think I want to put dry parsley on top afterwards, so I'm just going to drizzle the top with butter. And then get this in the oven for 30 minutes. And we'll get it out after 30 minutes, let it sit for 10 minutes, and get it tasted. So we'll be back in
Taste test.
30 or 35, 40 minutes, somewhere in there. All right, it is out of the oven. You got a picture of it. It is set for 10 minutes. Give it a little try here.
Aha. I'm watching.
It has been out of the oven for 10 minutes, almost 15. It has definitely cooled off a little bit. It's still going to be hot, very hot. So we're gonna give ourselves a little try here. Now this is a little bit darker than the other one we did. The other one was definitely whiter because we used all the soup mixes, and this one here we actually sautéed the mushrooms and whatnot in there, and I used my homemade chicken stock, which is a little darker than the canned cream stock or broth. So let's give this taste first without our extra ingredient. Piece of chicken in there, a little noodle. I said a little noodle.
I didn't get much.
What do you think, Ma? How good is it?
Very good. I'll try again. That's good.
Yeah. While I did like the other one is a little bit creamier. It has a almost, I want to say, a sweeter flavor because of the cream soup mixes. But I like the flavor of this one here. It's more grown up tasting.
Yes.
That would be the only way I could put it. This one here is a little bit thicker, not as sloppy as the other one because probably because it's, instead of using the condensed soup mixes, I boiled everything down or simmered everything down, reduced it. And if you're wondering what I sprinkled on there, it's crushed red pepper. I know my mom. Crushed red pepper makes everything better. This is very grown up compared to the other one. It looks better presentation for sure. The fresh caramelized, well, they're not really caramelized, sautéed mushrooms and onions really come through in this one where they're just barely there in the other one.
There's a mushroom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, quit picking all the mushrooms out. You know?
That was my first one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the mushrooms, I would almost double the mushrooms because I make mushroom tetrazzini.
Yeah, that was good.
This is really good. So, and I did mix up a few things in order. I said you're supposed to mix the chicken and the mushroom and onion saute part in with the sauce before you put it on the noodles. I didn't. I did it in layers. I forgot to totally mix in the mushroom sauce till right at the end and was able to scoop it through. So I've never made this before. I struggled through it a little bit because I'm trying to do it for the very first time without ever watching a video on it. I just took a recipe off of thecookierookie.com. Give them the credit. So this is what I know a lot of people when they watch a video, they've never done it. Hey, I've never done it. If I can do it first time through like this without ever doing it before on video, you can do this in your home where you're not going to make a fool out of yourself. But I had fun making it. I don't mind struggling on a new recipe, especially when it turns out as good as this does. Wendy may actually eat this.
You think?
She might. There's nothing, I mean, there's no sour cream in it, there's no mayonnaise in it, there's no tomatoes, no anything weird, no peppers.
But she doesn't like mushrooms.
She's okay with mushrooms.
Oh.
She's not a big fan of the Parmesan cheese, but it melts in. I mean, that's only a half a cup grated, melts into that whole across the top. So there's not much there. And she's got COVID, so she can't taste it anyway. So yeah, this is, I way thumbs up on this one. I'll do both of them again. The other one, because it's quicker and easier. This one here, if I really want to have, to impress some friends that come over, I think this would be a good one for me to do. Again, serve it with a salad, some fresh bread or some rolls. What kind of vegetable would you put on the side with this?
Peas.
Peas.
Beans.
Asparagus.
Oh yeah.
Grilled asparagus would be smashing on the side of this. Just a couple options, but yeah, probably something green on the side. Yeah. So give it a try. Pretty easy to make.
And it's good.
Yep. You don't have to cook the chicken. You just get a rotisserie chicken and tear it out. Or if you have leftover chicken, like we were using leftover chicken, so to speak, that part is easy enough. You do have to boil some noodles. You have to make a roux and simmer some sauce to heat that through. Saute your mushrooms and onions. And me doing it on the induction cooker right here, having to do it one after the other, I could have knocked this out a lot quicker had I done it on the stove and had all three going at the same time.
Oh yeah.
But I'd had to really pay attention to make sure I didn't burn anything or overdo anything. But yeah, this will be definitely in my favorite things I can cookbook.
With the beer cake.
With the beer cake. My once-a-year beer cake. So thank you for watching. Make sure you give this video a like. If you like it, make sure you give it a like even if you didn't like it. It helps my channel grow. It helps the YouTube algorithm. Share this with some friends, please. This is a great casserole. If you haven't subscribed yet, do subscribe. The last time I saw we were a little over 700 subscribers. We're going to do a giveaway when we reach 1,000. You have to be a subscriber. And I'll have a video and I'll give you the other rules. I'm sure I'm going to require you to do what everybody else does. You have to be a subscriber, you have to share a certain video, and you have to leave a comment. But that'll be, and then I'll use one of the YouTube automatic name pickers out of the people who did all those and verify that you've done all three of those, and we'll get a winner picked at some point. It'll be items that I'm testing in the kitchen, the silicone spatulas, the silicone trivets, some other things in there too. So make sure you subscribe for that and share this with other people. Thank you for watching. Have yourself a great evening.
Bye, Mom.
Bye, Mom.